Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Buchanan.
Nuño.
Texas A&M fined $50,000 and reprimanded Coach Mike Elko for the Aggies faking an injury, or feigning is the word I think they use, just prior to the player going down. A Texas A&M staff member can be seen on video, which I've looked for. I can't find it myself, but signaling to a player pointing to the ground. Now, let's kind of take this in layers or break this down in different ways.
Okay.
If that's what happened, I understand the rule.
Yeah.
You got caught. Goodbye. You know, you get fined. Fine. I'm sure there's video evidence out there. I just haven't seen it. I looked. I was like, where's this coach? Maybe they have a different angle. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong spot. Somebody can find it for me. If anybody's seen the video, I don't see it. Maybe there's a replay later on where they show it. I don't know. Okay, but I personally haven't seen it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. If it happened, they should get reprimanded. Gotcha. Didn't Tyreek Chappelle miss like 5 or 6 plays in a row?
He missed 6 plays.
Yeah. Okay. Man, that's really good acting. That's like when Robert De Niro used to be good kind of acting, right? That's really good. Like, I don't think a coach is going to have a player fake an injury who's an integral starter to that defense for that amount of time. That's just how I see it. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
If somebody pointed to the ground, how do we know that that's what that means?
Or, Coach, I'm hurt. I don't think I can go. Well, get on the ground. Get on the ground. I don't know. I'm just coming up with thoughts out loud. Again, if they broke a rule, they should get in trouble.
Isn't this the first time they've done that?
Yeah. Yeah, A&M gets first. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to go to conspiracy theory on
well,
it.
You know, look, if A&M did something wrong, okay. I saw Mike Elko denied it, said, hey, we'll accept it, but I'm telling you, we
actually got the statement from Texas A&M. If Kate is paying attention, we can put it up. Sorry, Kate, I thought you were texting somebody. There it is. With respect, I can't read that. I've got, that's like 29 feet away. Kate, why don't you do us the favor?
Yeah, I can read it. We respect the SEC's decision and understand the importance of upholding the integrity of the game. While we accept the ruling, we do not agree with the decision and want to be clear that we never coach or instruct our players to feign injury. Texas A&M football remains firmly committed to the highest standards of sportsmanship, competitiveness, and integrity. We'll use this as an opportunity to review our processes and ensure we continue to represent our great university and the SEC with class and accountability.
Well, I think your point is when you said that Tyreek Chappelle missed 6 plays, that's a pretty powerful argument considering that he's considered one of your absolute best defensive backs and cover.
It's like that guy who got into a car accident, right? But it's like a little bump and he wears the neck brace, right? Like if he's going to go his whole day with that neck brace and and to the next day at work and the next day at work, like, okay, maybe he's really hurt. I don't know. If they try to take advantage of the rule and weren't they assessed a timeout? I feel like that's the penalty already.
Look, I hate it when people obviously fake injuries, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't have a problem. I have a problem with A&M if they did that. And maybe Mike didn't know, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was something that an assistant coach did on his own. If that's the case, I would deal with that.
I just don't think you go down for that long.
I don't think so. Not a
starter.
But and well, you know how I feel about Greg Sankey in the SEC office when it pertains to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I would think that there have been probably more egregious and more obvious things that no one ever got fined for. But look, hey, you know what? It's Texas A&M to say, hey, we're going to fine you $50,000. You know what A&M does? Okay, let me reach into my front pocket here and hand it to you.
Wouldn't that be nice to have $50,000 in your front
A&M
pocket?
can do that.
Big old pockets.
In fact, A&M finds that in the cushion between the couch cushions. So but just make sure that you're watching everybody else.
So John Neighbors, our buddy, he's my buddy, but he's just been on Twitter too much talking about this thing. I think he's just trolling. I'm dying at Aggie fans trying to justify it and say it was a bad call by the SEC. I'm not saying it was a bad call by the SEC. I just don't. Somebody send me the video evidence of the coach. I'm sure it happened, right? Because I don't think the SEC is going to say that if there isn't video evidence of a coach. I didn't see the coach do that. Okay, and I also think it'd be weird for a player to that's doing that to be gone for that long. And also, by the way, a touchdown was scored on that series.
Yeah. I was going to say, how did that end?
Because usually when you go down for it, you have to be out of, what is it, a play or that series? I guess you have to be out that series, right? That's the new rule.
Is it? That's something I've always said, but I don't think they've ever done it. Just got to come out that play. Yeah. Unless they finally changed it and I was unaware.
Google that for us.
For years, I've always said, you know how you end this? When someone comes out, he can't come back until the end of until the next series. And so I think it's just still that they just come out for the play.
Yeah, I should probably know that rule, so I apologize for not knowing. Just double check that for me, Sydney, if you don't mind. Anyway.
But look, John's a good guy, but let's face it. He's, he does a thing where he talks about everything he hates about every opponent and everything. So he's Arkansas through and through.
Well, he says here, Texas A&M fined for faking an injury. Game should be forfeited, in my opinion.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm sure he's trolling.
I mean, yeah, but to put that,
look,
maybe you should. Maybe your defense should.
When you have a loser program and a constant loser program, and you have to cover the constant loser program, you grasp at straws.
I get it. If you want to say, hey, look, I think they should have been fired. They should have been fined $50,000. And I'm making fun of A&M fans for trying to justify it. Okay, but then when you say they should forfeit the game, hey John, I like you, but that's stupid.
That's dumb.
I mean, that's I won't use the word because Billy told me not to anymore. But you're mentally challenged if you really believe that.
We should probably clip that and send it to John. I love John.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd party with John.
I like John, but
come on. But I think he's got to be trolling. He's just looking for interactions, right?
That is top of the line buffoonery there. I got to call.
You call it the way you see it, Olin.
Man, that's stupid.
It is stupid.
Hey, somebody feigned an injury, so
I think
there was a holding penalty. So maybe you should have to forfeit the game because there was a holding penalty. Come on.
They scored.
I know wins aren't coming very often for you good folks up in Arkansas, but don't try to get them that way. Come on. I know you're tired of losing. I would be tired of losing to that degree too, but not to the point where I want somebody to gift me a win.
What is it, 13 out of 14?
Yeah, I think it's 13 out of 14, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call domination.
Yeah, so.
But by the way, if A&M did this, I get the fine. I have no problem with it, right? And apparently there's evidence of them doing it. I just think, man, that act, that to go out and actually miss as much as he missed.
I would like to be in a press conference about it with thank. So are you calling Mike Elko a liar? And just hear
Cindy Clevenger's got the rule, it looks like.
Yeah, in the event of an injured player, that player must remain out of the game for at least one down, even if that team is granted a team timeout.
So there we go. So it was your rule that should be the series.
I've always said that's how you get around it. You say, hey, if he's really hurt, he can't come back in.
So let me just see if I got this right. The guy misses 6 plays?
6 plays, I think it was, yeah.
Okay. And they score a touchdown on that series, right? And he's faking. And he's a starter, and he's a veteran player on this team.
If I'm Arkansas, I'm like, hey, I'm glad he faked the injury because they just took one of your maybe your best cover guy, at least your second best cover, out of the game.
The running back, Mike Washington.
Yeah.
Now he did look pretty dinged up, but when he left the game was did his coaches tell him he looked dinged up, and he came back and destroyed A&M for a little bit after.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I don't know. Like I trust Coach Elko, and I'll just leave it at that. And if he says they didn't do it, I kind of take his word for it.
By the way,
yes, hey, Katie.
Kay Nagley has just informed me that he missed 4 defensive plays.
Oh, it was 4?
4.
Miscounted.
Okay.
My bad.
4 defensive plays.
I struggle
TexAgs, we know things.
I struggle with math.
Well, I'm glad we have Kay. She fixed one of my mistakes last week, too. Kay is the corrector.
But still, 4 plays that you missed. And they don't want Terry Chappelle out of the game.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Oh, man. I still can't get my head around the idea that, Arkansas has gotten so frustrated with losing. Their program they've become such losers that they want to get wins given to them because, somebody was hurt. So
I'm sure he was trolling. People troll now. That's what they do.
That's a lot of losses.
I'm not a big troll. I'm not into trolling.
That's a lot of losses.
That is a lot of losses.
They're tired of losing.
You hear that in the background? That's another loss.
Yeah. Well, it's coming from that direction, from Fayetteville.
I don't know. You're a cartologist. You know maps. Anyway, this is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
You think that'll get back to anybody up in Arkansas?
We'll clip it and send it to them. I mean,
big suey, big suey. Hey, let's.
I don't think you or myself are ever scared of being about that life, having conversations.
No.
Like whatever, bro. Like, by the way, I would not think that if I were an A&M fan and it happened to us, but like, whatever. It just, some people, I really think, knowing John the way I do, I think he was just having fun.
And I'm having fun too.
I know. But you are about that life. By the way, I think I said this, the go out.
Oh, yeah, I interrupted you.
It's all right. The Warehouse of CC Creations, Rollo Insurance Studio. Did I do that?
Yeah.
I got a good story about Jason Rollo later. Actually, I'll just say it now. Jason, we spoke on the phone yesterday for a few minutes. When the Aggies were playing Florida, he was in Spain.
Oh.
The game started at 1:30 in the morning.
Okay.
He's like, honey, I'm watching this game, BJ. I'm watching this game.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, go to bed, whatever. I'm watching this game. But I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this side of the story. I guess it doesn't matter. But you can't get that game in Spain. So he had to get a VPN. He didn't know how to do it. They all set it up, and he was able to watch the Aggie football game until like 5 a.m. And he said the next day he was a wreck because he was up all night. But you know what a VPN is? It hides where you are. So you can say you're in the United States, and then you can get the game on whatever platform. I hope I'm not going to send him to jail for this. But somehow he was able to watch the game. I'll just say that.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. You should be able to watch the game in Spain.
Yeah. What's up with them? He was probably in Barcelona, not Madrid. Madrid, they probably allow it. Barcelona is more of a University of Texas town.
Is it?
Yeah, that's
right. It has a great beach.
It does. I haven't been, but I assume.
I haven't been either, but I've seen it on
By the way, if you want to call the show, you can do it multiple ways.
Yeah. You can do it on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
Bubby's going to be here tomorrow with food. Oh, yeah. Even though it's a road game, he's like, and you know what he's bringing?
Something Cajun?
He's bringing some Cajun. I said, etouffee, bro? He said, yes, homie. That's exactly what Bubby said.
Homie.
He said homie. And then he gave me a fist pound and like the bro salute. Yeah.
I can eat some etouffee.
Yeah. I'll drink that etouffee.
It's eat touffee for me. Anyway, that number is 979-693-1150. Yeah. They said in unison.
Yeah. And believe it or not, we got 2 callers. I didn't even ask for callers. We got 2 callers. We're becoming the Feinbaum show. We get callers.
Neighbor one of them?
Yeah. We should prank call him right now. I used to prank call people on the air. I don't think you're allowed to. I love prank calling humans. All right, let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Ross, welcome to TexAgs.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ross.
I have a couple. Good morning. Yes, I have a couple of questions regarding the fine. One is, I could probably look this up myself, but weren't we charged a timeout anyway during the game?
Yes.
So we were charged a timeout. Okay. That makes me feel a lot better. Because Kirby Smart was not charged a timeout when it was clear that he was calling a timeout and then tried to explain himself, and then the referee said, "Oh, we see what you're saying." Now, and Kirby had a lot to say about the University of Texas when they threw trash on the field last year. So yes, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. I think Texas was fined, but regardless, A&M, they shouldn't have done it, and they were charged a timeout. So hey, whatever, we were charged a timeout. The other thing was heard listening to the B team yesterday that that rule had been in place since 2022. I don't have time to look at all the games since 2022, but we know other teams have done this since 2022. So
Ole Miss did it
maybe
here.
One of your interns up there, maybe one of your interns can look up, maybe the University of Mississippi or all the other schools in the SEC that have done that and point out the hypocrisy that the Southeastern Conference is throwing at A&M. So that's all I wanted to say was, one, hey, we were charged a timeout, so hey, no harm, no foul in my mind. You want to, give us a fine on top of that. It just looks like you're targeting A&M. And then, I think we could also point out all the other times in the last 3 seasons where teams could have been fined, but they weren't. So that was it. Thank y'all.
I'd be happy if they would take that $50,000 and actually funnel it to Arkansas so they can put some improvements into that god-awful infrastructure they have there.
Was it bad?
I thought,
But I thought they advanced the rule, or they made some alterations to the rules. So Sydney will look it up for us. We made her the official rules seeker. I've got to read this. Look, we're probably going a little bit longer than we should this segment, but I'm going to read this. Matt Tackle, who I love Matt Tackle. I've met him twice. Maybe 3 times. Nice guy. Met him and his wife. He's usually great on his comments. Okay. This comment here is asinine.
Okay.
Is that a lot of word I can say?
Yeah, asinine. Yeah.
Etouffee, by all accounts, is the worst Cajun dish outside of the my mother-in-law makes pig guts, rodent backside, whatever it is. Etouffee,
you know what,
is like Seinfeld is great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the best. In fact, I request etouffee when I go anywhere.
Well, a lot of times we go to that place we like to go for seafood,
like donuts, but dough.
Yeah. And very often,
Papa don't preach.
Very often, I get the etouffee, and I like a guy like this, like Matt, who doesn't like etouffee.
It's more for us.
It's more for me. That's right.
No doubt about that. And then there was another gentleman. We'll get to the phone line here in a second. Who said, "Don't read the trolls' things. You're just feeding them. They're feeding me. Like, don't we love watching OB get upset? I love it.
I was slopping the hogs.
You were slopping the hogs." Should we talk to Bruce real quick on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline?
Hey, Bruce.
Bruce, welcome to TexAgs. What up? Are you driving the truck?
Yes, sir.
What's up, Bruce?
Thank you.
I'm driving in Indiana right now.
Oh, Indiana's got a couple playoff teams there.
Yeah, I don't recommend Indiana, by the way.
Hey, I understand. What's on your mind?
I was watching a replay. Sorry?
I just said, what's on your mind?
Oh, I was watching a replay of the game, and I especially watched the plays that involved this fine. On the play prior to Tyreek sitting down, he was covering the slot receiver, and the slot receiver flew past him as if he was a pylon. And so he followed the play. They got like 20, 30 yards, whatever they got. And then as soon as the player was down, Tyreek was maybe 5 yards away. Tyreek turned and looked at the sideline and put his hands out as if to say, hey, I can't cover this guy. Something's wrong. So it was not a case of, the Ags, they're cheating and trying to slow down the Arkansas offense. No, to me, it looked like Tyreek Chappelle was struggling. He didn't know what to do, so he looked to the sideline, and they said, get on the ground. Now, what they should have done is just called timeout.
Yeah.
That's what they had to do anyway. But to me, it looked like Tyreek was hurt, and he wasn't sure what to do.
Gotcha. I mean, that makes sense. Hopefully, it was just he was a little bit banged up, as opposed to, hey, I can't cover this guy because
Maybe
he's
he's
better than
feeling
me.
cramped.
Yeah.
Maybe he's having a cramp. The weather was kind of bizarre up there that night.
Well, if you watch that play, he did not look like he was 100%. That guy blew past him, and he fully knew that he couldn't cover on that play, and it just looks pretty obvious to me. If you guys watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Bruce, travel safely, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to say one more thing. Last time LSU won, I was there when OB was there. I was in the end zone watching Leland score. So I think we're going to do it again this week.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, there you go. So, I don't know. I just Elko that it wasn't like a fakey. And if it was a fakey, they got penalty. They got fined.
They paid their penance, and they got to keep the win. Sorry, John.
Yeah, sorry, John. Kate, we basically already said hi to you, right?
Yeah, we can move past it. Yeah, you talked to me already.
Sydney Clevenger, I basically said hi to you already, right? At the Angry Elephant Using Social Center?
Yes, you did.
Okay. We'll still talk to you again. Kate, we'll probably check in with you at some point. Peter Burns has to reschedule, so we'll figure something out for that 10:35. OB.
Yeah.
You and John Neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay? You guys go to 1775. I'm there. Okay? I got your back in this conversation, right? And you got to order pig, right?
Heck yeah. Oh, the pork ribs and the jalapeno cheese sausage.
Yeah.
I said, this tastes almost as good. Actually, it tastes just as good as beating your...
A sweet victory?
Yeah, as beating your team.
Yeah.
You Razorbacks, y'all produce some mighty fine food up there. I like the way my team went up there and ate, and now I'm here with all this pork, and I'm eating.
And you're going to give him some too, right?
Of course I'm going to get some. Like, here, you haven't had a chance to taste victory.
Right.
So here's your opportunity to taste victory.
And you've never had a back-to-back victory, so here's some queso mac and cheese to go with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think I'll give him the pork ribs and the sausage so he can taste what it's like to have victory. And but his calling for a forfeit because that's the only way they can win.
Yeah.
You just forfeited your right.
You have to watch us eat.
Queso mac and cheese.
Yeah.
You have to watch.
You have to watch us eat. You can't even say a word. You just have to watch every bite.
Just like you're going to have to, watch A&M in the playoff and not be there.
1775. We're so random.
I know.
Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. Call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775, and
it's good.
Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. All right, I got to get a quick segment in before we get Max Wright here on the program at 8:35. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB. Yes, Jess on the text line says, Jess here. My thought is, the more we talk about this, the longer it hangs around. Make it a non-issue and move on. My opinion only. I'm glad it's not somebody else's, and you're relaying it.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah. I disagree with it. I disagree.
I think this is the way I look at it. Okay, OB, tell me if I'm right here. The news came out not even 24 hours ago.
Right.
And our responsibility is to talk about things that happen in the A&M program, especially the day after, if we haven't had a chance to talk about it. So if I'm talking about it next Thursday, then by all means, Jess, you're correct. At this point, my opinion only, you're wrong. All right, let's get to the games that you want to see, OB, shall we?
Yeah, are they up there?
I can tell you. Let's go number 11, BYU at Iowa State.
Yeah, BYU, unbeaten, got playoff aspirations. They've got a tough schedule coming up, and it starts with Iowa State up in Ames. Iowa State is not ranked anymore, I don't believe, but they're undefeated in Ames. So that's going to be one of the more challenging games BYU has had so far.
Yes, sir. Let's go to the next game. And the next game is, we'll skip over this one because this one is ours. Number 15, Missouri at number 10, Vanderbilt.
That was an outstanding game last year. And, look, there's going to be a lot of black and gold in the stands, a lot of scoring on the field because both teams have really good offenses. Diego Pavia against Ahmad Hardy. The quarterback means so much. He's the focus of that Vanderbilt offense. Hardy's really the focus of the offense for Missouri.
Tribula can run a little bit.
He can a little bit, but not like Pavia.
No. Pavia's he's an animal.
I think that Vanderbilt has been challenged more than Missouri. So I think this is a great game to get an idea what Missouri really is about.
Number 18, South Florida, taking on Memphis, who just lost to UAB.
Yeah. Big game because the winner's probably going to be in the American Athletic Conference championship game against somebody. Navy, maybe. Navy's unbeaten.
Yep.
But I think these are the two best teams, and the winner of this game, I bet you, is going to be the Group of 5 representative in the playoff.
Number 8, Ole Miss at number 13, Oklahoma.
Well, Ole Miss can really score. Oklahoma has a good defense, allegedly. So it's the old the irresistible force, the immovable object kind of thing. And both teams, maybe one of them is kind of kidding themselves, but both of them still have playoff aspirations. So somebody's going to continue on, feeling like they got a chance to get in the playoff, and somebody's probably going to have to acknowledge that it's not likely to happen.
And the game that we really care about, number 3, Texas A&M at number 20, LSU.
It's been since 1994. Under Mike Elko, A&M finally won a road game. They had 10 games where they hadn't won on the road.
Yep.
Then they beat a non-conference team on the road and beat a ranked team on the road. And so they have this ability under Elko to kind of put together or put to end some dubious streaks. Well, maybe this is the next dubious streak to fall. And A&M, A&M is in the control of its own destiny, just like it was about this time last year of getting into the SEC championship game. And this would be a big step forward if you could win in Baton Rouge.
All right, let's before we hit a break, let's go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Rusty is here on TexAgs Live. Rusty, welcome to TexAgs.
Hey, gentlemen, how
I know
you doing?
that guy. Doing well.
Hey, I had to laugh, OB, because I agree with you 1,000% in this whole fine thing. But let me just say this: that I've been listening to Astros fans for about 8 years tell me if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I feel like, hey, listen, we might have done it. But who cares? We paid our $50,000. And the other thing is, as far as faking goes, OB, my wife, your wife, millions of other wives been faking, and I salute their efforts so at least giving that that thought that maybe I did what I intended to do.
I wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah, how does he know what my wife is doing?
Notice he didn't say my wife. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying. How does he know what?
Nuño, it might be your wife too, bro.
My wife.
I didn't want to.
Is my wife telling stories?
Facebook posts.
Hey, at my house, I'm the one that fixes it.
Okay, we're gonna hit a break there. Rusty, thank you for calling.
Oh my! You never know where you're going on the go hour. Right?
Oh my goodness, Rusty, call back more often and tell us more. All right, OB.
He's talking about injuries, of course.
Yeah, your wife fakes an injury when she's like doing chores.
She says, "Oh my hamstring or my neck hurts.
Back.
I can't mop."
Never mind.
That's what he was talking about.
You know that song?
What?
My neck, my back.
No, I don't know.
Okay, don't read the lyrics. Whether you're chasing birds at sunrise or casting lines at the back.
Max Wright's laughing.
Yeah, Max is laughing. The folks in the background, I heard Kay Nagley. Talk to me about Duck Camp.
Great clothes. Great clothes. In fact, you're wearing a Duck Camp hoodie right now.
A hoodie.
They
you know what?
Good.
And you should probably buy Irma some Duck Camp right now because she'd look greater in it as well.
She looks great in everything. But yeah, she'd look even better in Duck Camp. I wore Duck Camp last night.
In your sleep?
No. I went out and met a friend of mine for dinner, and I was wearing some Duck Camp gear.
Party OB?
Yeah, I was just, good, like the way it looks, like the way it feels.
The gun show, right? Whether you're gearing up for a night out on the town with OB or for a hunt or a fishing trip, just trying to survive College Station traffic, check out duckcamp.com, built for the outdoors and designed for everything else. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olson wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. Oh my gosh. FCC violation coming. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's clean up the segment.
Well, let's go to somebody with of high moral fiber.
Yeah.
Max Wright.
He's got a backbone, right?
Yeah.
Max Wright on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Max, you've been listening to the show for a little bit. You came on early, so I apologize. What's up, buddy?
Good morning. Yeah, you're a little more ramped up in the mornings, man. You guys are early morning people, huh?
We're stupid.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
The go hour, this is how the show goes. The go hour goes many places, and then it starts getting bottled up a little bit in the 9 o'clock hour, and then Billy comes, and you never know where that's going to go as well.
Gotcha.
Let's just start things off with 7-0, LSU coming up here on this weekend on the road, and just all that's on the line, considering what A&M has built up, right? This 7-0 start has put them in a position each week to get closer and closer to that playoff potential.
Yeah, I think anytime you have to go into Baton Rouge and play in Death Valley, it's a challenge. Obviously, like Ego talked about in his press conference this week, we haven't been able to win in that place since we've been in the SEC. So I know that for the team and just a program to be able to finally go in that stadium and come out with a win, and for it to be for your team to be able to go 8-0 for this season is a huge opportunity. Looking at, just what's ahead for this team as well. This is the road stretch that everyone talked about in our schedule that was going to be the test for this team. And if you can go against LSU at their stadium whenever they're still a top 25 team and get a win on the road, that's a huge statement to the rest of college football that, hey, this Aggie team isn't just a fluke or hasn't just gotten lucky on, these early games throughout the season, that they're a real deal contender for the SEC. And then it's obviously sets the tone where if you come in and get a win this weekend, going into a bye week before you have to go to Mizzou, I mean, that's where you really see an opportunity to finish out the year strong. And I like my Aggies against anyone on the rest of the schedule, man. And I think that this weekend in Baton Rouge is going to set the tone for what we do for the rest of the season.
Well, if they're going to get that win in Baton Rouge, one of the things they're going to have to do is cover and do a good job on the tight end, 6'7" tight end, Trudez Green.
Mm-hmm.
He's really been hot the last 2 games. He's been like the focal point of their passing game. And I figure, Max, Superman knows where the kryptonite is. You're a tight end. So how do you deal with a guy like that? What would they do to, take you out of the game? So, give us some of the trade secrets.
Yeah, I think whenever you're playing against a guy that's that big and athletic, and he can go out and be an actual threat in the passing games, you have to be smart with who you match him up against. Oftentimes, you're going to see most teams try to just match up a linebacker, even an internal linebacker with a tight end, because the tight ends of old were not the most athletic guys and weren't guys who were real route runners. But I think today, especially, you have to be smart and strategic with who you want them matched up with in one-on-one opportunities, because that's what LSU ultimately is going to try and do. They're going to try and get him matched up and get a mismatch size-wise, and then also with his vertical size as well. So if he gets matched up on somebody who's significantly shorter than him, gives him a chance to go up with an elevated ball to go up above his defenders, and then obviously just bigger guys like that are hard for some smaller defenders to have to play around. So I think Elko, especially having played against his defense as a tight end whenever he was at A&M and I was on the offensive side of the ball, he's really smart with preventing mismatches, and that goes through prepping in game film and prep through the game weeks to make sure that he puts our defenses in the best situations. Obviously, he's looking to bounce back from a frustrating week in Arkansas this past week. But in order to stop that guy with his size and his height, you have to be smart with how you match him up. And you maybe have to have a safety over the top to prevent him from being able to go on deep corner routes or deep routes and get those higher balls thrown to him. So I feel more than confident, though, that this defense is going to be just fine matched up against him.
So you're not concerned about what you saw last week, because the 2 road games, they've given up a lot of points. One was the flow of the game more than not being able to, they just couldn't stop Taylor Green, and that opened everything else up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say not concerned, but I mean, I think here's the thing. I mean, Arkansas is, one of the highest yielding offenses in terms of yards in the entire country, in the SEC for sure. And I think whenever you look at those games, they were just sloppy football games played by our defense. And I think whenever they go back and watch the film, they're going to see that. Allowing Taylor Green to scramble for as many yards as they did is is a lack of discipline in your rush lanes. And being a former defensive lineman, you've got to make sure that you especially contain a quarterback of that athletic ability. But looking forward to this weekend against LSU, I think it's an offense that, while they're dangerous, can put up numbers. I think that playing against Arkansas's team last week, I think that Arkansas may have a bit of an edge offensively over LSU. I think they're able to put up more points. I think they've shown that against every single team that they've played this year. That's why they've been in a lot of three-point matchups and a lot of three-point finishes against some really good football teams. So I know that being able to bounce back from a frustrating week is something that Elko's going to take a lot of pride in, and I think really try to bring that defense back to the forefront and say, hey, we stumbled the past few weeks and giving up some points. But I do think that going into Death Valley, if you can set the tone early as a defense and get after Nussmeier and get pressure on the quarterback with Cassius Howell against an offensive line that is banged up, that is hurt, and has struggled against good defensive lines, I think you can really shut down that offense in a lot of ways.
Speak to the frustration of going over there and maybe even feeling like you had a better team and not being able to win there.
At LSU?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had opportunities to win in that stadium multiple times. Specifically, whenever I was there with Jalen Weidermeyer, and I believe it was 21.
21,
yeah. 21. When we were up and had a late drive opportunity on a third down, when we forget the first down, we're probably going to run out the clock and win the football game. Obviously, things didn't go how we wanted to. I wish we would have ran the football on that third down instead of trying to throw it, because we were running on those guys all night. But I think it's a testament to the environment that is Death Valley. And whenever you come into that stadium, you cannot allow mistakes. You cannot allow mental errors. You can't give this team momentum. Because if you can take out the fans in Death Valley, it's a playable stadium, and it's a place that you can win in. And obviously, for me, I want to see these guys go in the stadium and get a win so that we can stop talking about how we haven't had a win in Death Valley since we've been in the SEC. I think our entire program feels that, and I think everyone thinks this year that we truly are the better team, and it's time for us to go out and prove it, even in a stadium that is hard to play in. So Baton Rouge, the fans are obviously rowdy. It's a great environment. But I think that if our offense can get rolling, which I think that they can, and LSU's a good defense, so they're going to be tested, and if our defensive line can show up and pressure Nussmeier, that they're going to have the opportunity to win that football game.
Max, by the way, you guys did win that game. You got robbed. Damani ripped that ball away on the
Thank
punt.
you.
Yeah. I mean, the game was over. So they should get fined for that instead of Coach Elko getting fined. America.
Also talking about that game, it's pretty funny. The fade ball that Max Johnson threw for a touchdown, then he moved to A&M the next year. We roomed together that next year whenever he was at A&M. We talked a lot about that strip, and he himself said that ball was ripped out and it was a fumble.
Well, you can see the reaction on the LSU sideline. Everybody except that official thought it was. But hey, we don't want to be like LSU fans who are still whining about the 7 overtime game and things like that. And we don't want to be like Arkansas that wants to get a free win given to them. Just accept it, move on, and beat them this week.
Exactly. Yeah. New horizon, man. It's a new year. Let's go out and get a win.
Let's go do it. Hey, Max, appreciate your time, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Gig
'em. That's Max Wright there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. What a break. We'll come back with the final segment here on the Go Hour. Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have this mission to build a healthy community around nature. They tread lightly on that land that you can find Milliken Reserve on, creating a sanctuary for family, for nature, and for community. They have 2,600 acres of open space. They've got 30 miles of trails. They've got beautiful homes there, and they want to connect families to nature and to each other. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that includes walking and equestrian paths, creeks and ponds, and gathering areas. They're a place for families to cherish generation after generation. When you go there, don't be surprised you find all the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, the turtles in that beautiful community. You can go hiking, you can go biking, you can go canoeing, you can go kayaking. They got equestrian trails, evening yoga as well. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. Obi, we got a mutual friend in the state of Alabama, might do some radio, who texted me a few days ago that he had heard, that maybe one of A&M's former coaches would be interested in the Auburn job. And then today, Ross Dellinger tweets out, the beneficiary of the biggest buyout in history, Jimbo Fisher, 60, is preparing to coach again. He's watching film, organizing a staff, and quote-unquote clarifying things. I never got into coaching for money. I'm not getting out of it because I've got the money. So Jimbo Fisher wants another college football coaching job. There's an article that I have not been able to read, but it came out, I guess, this morning.
So he wants to go to Auburn?
I don't know about Auburn.
Is that what they're suggesting?
No, one guy said he wouldn't be surprised if Auburn was, a school that he would. I don't think that'd be the right move for Auburn. I think you don't want to get a coach who's trying to prove himself again, back to back, right? Like, I don't know. I think you go. I don't know. Maybe he would work out there.
Well, the first thing they want is somebody that can beat Alabama.
Yep.
And
he's done that.
And he almost did it twice.
Yeah.
If he just hadn't have called the dumbest play I've ever seen, perhaps.
Yeah.
I have no animosity toward Jimbo Fisher. If Auburn wants to make that mistake, go ahead. You know what? I was always pro Fisher until he tried to tell me that scheme doesn't matter. And to me, that was kind of like, yeah, you've lost me forever, because it absolutely does.
I think with Jimbo, I believe so much in what he did at Florida State and what he did up until 2020, right?
For 4 years here.
And then it just took me a long time because it's like I got this great recruiting class. They go 5-7. That obviously should have been the red flag. And after the App State game, in my head, I'm thinking, you can't keep a coach that just lost to App State. But I wanted to give him a chance, right? And it felt like they could potentially be better the next year. But,
what got me that year that they were 4-11. 4-7. And LSU comes to town. And, they run all over him with A-Chain.
Yep.
And then he's acting like, see, I told you my offense works. Like, dude, you just finished 5-7. Yeah, it's a good win, but you're 5-7. Don't crow.
And then Bobby Petrino comes here, and the questions before the season started, were accurate questions. Are you going to really let Bobby run his offense? And at times it felt like it wasn't Bobby's offense.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Remember in the SEC media days when Jimbo was asked about Bobby calling the plays, and he started saying, everybody's going to call him. What are you talking about? And it was Jimbo.
Yeah. Let's get one text or chat in. Sydney Clevenger at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We got time for one.
Yeah, I got a text from Bacchus and Katie.
Boses.
Boses.
I don't know. I'm assuming.
I have no idea. This horrible performance by our defense last weekend just might be what we need for this week for LSU, and they could be more focused, and Elko can use this to his advantage to get them more focused.
I think that'll happen, and I also think that LSU's offense isn't as good as Arkansas.
And I also think that LSU losing to Vanderbilt makes them as desperate as possible.
They're desperate, yeah.
So that could be a thing. Obi, thank you, sir.
Yep.
When we come back on this show that we call TexAgs, John Harris, Jamie Morrison, Ryan Brauninger, Aaron Torres, all that, TexAgs. We are back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the show. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. My dear friend John Harris joining us, footballtakeover.com and Houston Texans sideline reporter. Mr. Harris, how are you?
I'm awake, David. That's a positive step after a Monday night late game in Seattle. So everything is actually off. And I'll be brutally honest, as I was driving in, I'm thinking, it's Tuesday. What do I got today? And then I went, oh, God, no, it's Wednesday when I got the Zoom email. I was like, holy crap, it's Wednesday already of game week. So gotta get cranked back up, but hopefully enough sleep last night, and we're ready to rock for this weekend's proceedings, and at least they're at home for the next 3 weeks, at least on the Texans side of it.
On the times that I traveled on the Texans plane with you, you'd leave right after the game. So I'm doing the math in my head. 9 o'clock game, over at what? Midnight, post game, 1 o'clock in the morning, plane leaves at, and I'm doing Texas time, 2 a.m., 4.5 hour flight. You arrive at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Is that about what happened?
Yeah, we saw the sun coming up as the bus was going back to NRG Stadium. And then we had to do all of our Tuesday stuff. So Nick Casario, we recorded at 11:30. So we pulled into NRG Stadium at 7:30. And I can't go home because I live a long ways away now. And so I went to the local hotel that's close by that I've done this a couple times. And I went in and I was like, look, I need 3 hours of sleep. So what would it take? Can I get a discount rate on a room? And they're like, oh, that'll be $205. And I was like, bleep you. And I went back to studio and I just tried to, fall asleep in the studio for a couple hours. So Tuesday was kind of a mess all day long. So as soon as my head hit the pillow Tuesday night after Rockets last night, I was out like a light. So hopefully feel rejuvenated and ready to go.
Talking to Johnny Harris. Johnny, we'll get back to the Texans here in a moment. But I assume with you having a Monday night game, you probably were able to take in a lot of college football. Let's talk about what you saw from A&M against Arkansas and how you think that maybe translates to the rest of the season.
Well, a couple of things. One, I think, and I've said this before about this Aggie team, which I really like, and that is they have different ways to beat you. And this was one of those games in which they faced an Arkansas offense led by Taylon Green and Bobby Petrino, which that offense is probably, if all guys are healthy, they're probably going to put up 35 on most every team they face, because defenses just nowadays they're not at that high level. So they're going to put points on everybody. So the fact that A&M, won that game, both teams are in the 40s. That didn't even like enter my mind. Like, oh, I should be disappointed about this for the Aggies. And I'm sure there were disappointing moments just granularly as you looked at each and every play. Oh, this guy missed this guy. But in the end, you go to Arkansas, which is never an easy place to play, even though you haven't been there in 13 years, 12 years, whatever it was. Your offense found other ways to get things going. And I remember last week we talked about Reuben Owens. And I've always been a Reuben Owens fan. Of course, guys from El Campo are always going to click for me just because that was a rival of mine in high school many, many eons ago. And I thought he played very well. And the fact they put up 45, and look, Arkansas's defense is, they probably could put 13 guys on the field at times, and it probably isn't going to help them. It's just a defense that's a sieve. But A&M took care of business. And again, they found a different way. They had to win a shootout. They won a shootout. If they have to win a defensive ball game, they've shown they can do that too, holding a couple opponents to single digits. So it just furthered to me the fact that this A&M team, and look, what we've seen in the NFL for a long time, we're going to see in college. They're playing 12 games plus a championship game, plus playoff games. There's a lot of games this season. I just don't know that you're going to see teams go undefeated anymore, especially not in the SEC. I'm not saying that because I think LSU is going to beat A&M this weekend. I'm not saying that. But we've talked about this 3-game road stretch. It's tough to go 3-0 in the SEC, whether you're playing in 3 games at home, much less playing 3 games on the road and playing in difficult places. But what they're showing, as long as guys are healthy, of course, is that it doesn't matter what style of game it is. They play physically, they play smart for the most part, and they can put the ball in the end zone. And I point out those 3 things maybe and probably in large part because I see my team not do those things. Now, the Texans defense plays physically. They don't play smart and haven't played smart, and they're not putting the ball in the end zone. And that is frustrating as hell to watch. But I'm watching A&M. I watch them execute offensively. Defensively, they're not beating themselves for the most part, and they're making plays to win games, and they're putting the ball in the end zone. And I'm envious, in a sense, to see that. And I think that's the biggest thing about this team, just from a 30,000-foot view. That's what I see. They play physically. They get after you on both sides of the ball. They don't do everything 100% the way everybody wants them, but they're finding ways to win games, even in tough spots. Now, this one, going to be tougher than most because of location and a team coming off a tough loss. But that team is kind of reeling right now, so maybe you're catching them at the right time. But just as far as A&M goes, it's just fun to watch a team that is quarterbacked by a leader that you can tell everybody rallies around and respects, and they're going to follow his lead. That's got a good run game. It's got a really good offensive line, playmakers at wide receiver, put the ball in the end zone, don't beat themselves, good coaching, smart football. If you have that, you have a chance in college football, and the Aggies have all of those things in spades.
Johnny, Caden, who works for us, gave me a couple stats. LSU gives up, 15 points per game. A&M has scored over 30 in 6 of the 7 games this year. They probably should have scored 30 in the Auburn game. They just had so many penalties. So taking just from a pure football perspective, let's not worry about right now Death Valley. We'll get into that here in a second. But just from a football perspective, I feel like A&M should win this game, not just based on those stats, but by the brand of football I have seen. So just take that thought and tell me, does that jive with you?
So I'm going to give you an analogy, and I'm actually going to use a Longhorn, so I'm sorry for this, but it's a golf analogy. Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler is the best golfer in the world. And why is that, David? Because he can go and play, the Waste Management Open down in Phoenix, and he can shoot 22 under because he's taking advantage of the course that's there. He's making the shots. He's got eagles and birdies all day long. But he can also go to Pinehurst and win the U.S. Open shooting 3 under because he knows, you know what? Par might be good on this hole. I might need to have a par here. But he also knows there are times where I got to go get this birdie. I got to go get this eagle. I got to be able to score on these particular holes, no matter how hard it is. And I say that because when it comes to this game against a good defense like LSU, par might be, hey, let's pick up a couple of first downs. It just isn't there. But let's punt and pin them back into their own territory a little bit. That doesn't sound the sexiest, but it might be a win because of the way LSU is not playing offense. So par at times might be good in this game against LSU, and there are going to be opportunities where this is a birdie opportunity. We've turned them over. We got the ball in their territory. This has to be a touchdown. Just like Scheffler, it's got to be a birdie right here. This is a birdie hole. You got to make that way. But you also have to live with par. And I think that's one of the problems with the Texans as I bring them back in, kind of using that again. The CJ in the offense, it's almost like they want eagle every time they have the ball. And it's like they're doing things where, you know what, par is good. Just, take the 4-yard play here. You don't need a 40-yard play. Take the 4-yard play. I feel like Marcel and this offense kind of understand that. They'll take what they want, but if it's not there, you know what? We'll get another opportunity. And LSU is a good enough defense. Delane at corner could be maybe CB1 in this draft. Harold Perkins, we know. I don't know the status of Whit Weeks. It sounds like he won't play. And if not, I think that's a spot they can take advantage. I don't think LSU is tremendous up front. And so I feel like this offensive line, and I'm not going to say it's Arkansas' defensive line, but it's just, I remember LSU having defensive lines that were just littered with guys that were tremendous. I feel like this is kind of whole is greater than some of its parts for LSU's front. But this has also got to be a game where you got to understand punting is okay. I don't love it, but in a game like this against this defense, punting is okay. You don't want a DJ Lagway situation where by the end of the game, Lagway's head is just spinning because he's trying to go get birdies every single drive, and he's playing right into LSU's hands because of the disguises they threw at him, and he couldn't pick it up. Now, I think Marcel's got different ways to hurt LSU, that LSU can't do that. But obviously, Marcel's got to be able to drive the train, take par when needed, but know when the birdie opportunities are there, and then you got to cash those in.
All right, Johnny. So now let's talk about the LSU home experience, right? So I just Googled this a moment ago. LSU's home record at night since 1958 is a 79.4 winning percentage, all right? They've won 284 times, 72 losses, which is actually more than I thought. Last year, they had their 15-game home night streak ended by Alabama. So before that, they had won 15 straight night home games in a row. What makes Death Valley, LSU, Tiger Stadium such a dangerous place to play at night, regardless of their record?
I went there many, many years ago.
I went with you.
It's my only time I've yeah, right. And
the Georgia game?
No, I went to the Virginia Tech game in 2007. Oh. I saw my buddy Dwayne Brown play for Virginia Tech. And Now that was a different defense. I mean, that team won a national championship. That was a different defense. But there was, I mean, first of all, the fans are liquored up, which I mean that in the nicest way. And it's not always because of the liquor. It's just they've been tailgating all day. You know, they're anxious for the game, and then that thing starts, and they're ready to just kind of let it all out. But I mean, the biggest part is LSU's good. And has been good. And it's comfortable when you're at home. And when you have that crowd, makes it very, very difficult on your communication. Now, the other thing everybody always forgets is it makes it difficult on your own communication. And that's something maybe A&M's offense could take advantage of. But it's going to be loud. You're going to have to go on silent count. I mean, A&M's in the gun a lot of times anyways. And so that's okay. So you can just kind of go on the movement of the center and all that. So I think, and sometimes you can use that to your advantage, but you just can't have communication errors. And for a college team to go 60 to 65 plays in a game and not have a communication error, that's tough. And that's what LSU can prey upon, especially when they're playing at night. Now, where you can flip the script is their offense has been not very good. I mean, even the touchdown that got them to 21 points against Vanderbilt was, kind of a Nussmeier YOLO, throw it up, and Xavier Thomas makes one hell of a play. And then just being the great athlete he is, he gets in the end zone. So and this is where it works the other way, if LSU's offense gets stymied early by A&M's defense, what do you think that crowd is going to be? That gassed up crowd is going to be boo. They're going to be all over that offense. And that's where the lack of confidence starts to seep in. I think that offensive line for LSU, we talked about this before the year, all the talk about Nussmeier and the weapons and all that, that's great. The offensive line you knew was going to be inexperienced, and that is shown. And so A&M's defensive front has got to get after it. Cassius comes off the edge, and he creates a lot of problems. They're going to have to devote resources that way. And so other guys with one-on-one matchups have got to go win them, and they got to win them decisively. Because if they get on top of that LSU offense early, that crowd will turn on the offense. That I know, and that's where the opportunity for them to kind of quiet down when A&M's offense is out there. You put a couple touchdowns up on the board, and now they're more vociferous about what LSU is not doing as opposed to trying to stop what A&M is doing.
Johnny, so I stand corrected. The time I went, because we went with 1560. When we were at 1560, we had the broadcast rights to LSU, and you went that first year. I went the second year, and it was Georgia LSU at Tiger Stadium, and they were both the 10th ranked team and the 11th ranked team. That's the time I got to go, and LSU lost that game. I'm sure you remember to Georgia, 52-38. I had to Google it. So, moving on. Last week, Cash Towell had a good game, but there were so many opportunities for him to get to Taylon Green, and Taylon Green is so slippery, right? And he is fast, and he makes fast dudes look slow. Nussmeier ain't that, right? So if A&M can get to the backfield, they're going to be able to get to Nuss.
I've talked to our pass rushers here with the Texans. I mean, all of them. JJ, Clowney, these guys, John Grenard is with the Vikings now, and our guys now. The one thing they hate more than anything else is a quarterback, A, the size of Taylon Green, and B, the running ability and the speed and mobility of Taylon Green. They hate it. They're like, man, I just whipped this dude with this great pass rush, and now I got to chase a guy who runs 4.4. You're right. That isn't this. Nuss is not moving. I mean, Nuss can move a little bit, but even that seems, I mean, whatever injury, it was kind of mysterious this summer. Like, what is it? And I don't remember what it was. He just doesn't look right physically. And, the thing is, he's kind of like Baker Mayfield in a sense that he won't run a lot. But the one time he chooses to run, he makes a 3rd and 14 into a first down. And so you got to be careful of that. But mostly he's going to be in the pocket where you expect him to be. But you still have to bring him down. And that was going to be a lot harder against Taylon Green. It's a little bit easier against Nussmeier. But I guarantee you, Cassius Howell is sitting there going, man, this could be another 3-sack game for me. And if I do that again, now I'm going to have everybody's attention. Look, I've said this before. The NFL teams know all about Cassius Howell. It didn't matter. And I hear this in every broadcast. And in fact, I heard it last week. Cassius Howell sat behind Nick Gordon and Shamar Stewart. And I'm like, yeah, that happens. But trust me, this dude, the way he's playing now, he's playing at a higher level than either one of those two last year even got to. Not even close. And the scouts know all about Cassius Howell. So, which makes me think LSU knows all about him too. So there are going to be a lot of resources going to him. But at least if they do decide to be stupid and go one-on-one, Cassius knows, all right, that ain't Taylon Green. I get a beat on Nussmeier. I got him. But you still have to bring him to the ground and not let a big play late in the game kill you because you're going for this big swooping shot on Nussmeier and he kind of shakes you off and then he completes a pass or he runs for a first down. You still have to maintain your fundamentals at the key times in a game. And I know teams, in fact, I'm looking at stadium right now, where the fundamentals haven't been there in key times in a game. And that, to me, is what made A&M great. They haven't made those mistakes for the most part. They're making those plays. And I think it's really helped them.
Johnny, I want to do one more Cassius thing before we finish out with the Texans. I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone. And yeah, Cassius is having a nice season, but I'm a little concerned that, he's had most of his sacks in like 2 games, right? And then I paused. I was like, dude, I remember a season where people were talking about J.J. Watt. And he probably finished with 20 this season, where he didn't have this certain amount of sacks at a certain point of the season. Then he had 2 or 3 games where he had 3 and 3. And that's sacks come in bunches, right, Johnny? It's not like it's one every game. Like there's that day where it all works out. That's even the greats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk to, they want sacks. I mean, they're selfish isn't the right word. But everybody likes stats and sacks. But we would always say after we watched the JJ game, like, okay, he had 2 sacks today, but he had 9 pressures. I remember we went to, I think it was the Colts. It's Colts in 2019. We went and played the Colts up there. JJ didn't have a sack. And I remember talking to Chris Ballard, later that year. JJ had 7 pressures. And he's like, John, we devoted every ounce of whatever we had on the offensive line and running backs to stop J.J. Watt. And we couldn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but Ballard, he didn't have any sacks. He goes, I don't care. He's like, look how many pressures he had. He made us move off the spot. He made Jacoby Brissett throw it when he didn't want to. We ended up losing the game because nobody else played worth the flip. But I remember that distinctly, that you could still impact the game with just pressure. And maybe you get the sacks. And look, sometimes I've talked to some guys that rush the edge and they're like, look, sometimes sacks are luck. But if you consistently create pressure, you're going to force a quarterback into some bad decisions. And you know as well as I do, David, Garrett Nussmeier, he plays some YOLO football. He's going to make a mistake. And if you can push him into that mistake with some pressure, more opportunities you have to turn him over or to get off the field on third down. So I can live without sacks, but you better create the pressure, and I guarantee you he'll do that.
Johnny, has closed out. You've kind of alluded to it a couple of times, but what's the problem with the Texans? It's you mentioned fundamentals. It's a lot of things, right? Offense is having issues. What can you say about what's happening so far? And I feel like nobody expected this heading into the season, right?
Yes and no. I think there were a lot of questions about the offense, David, and there remain those questions. I think the one thing that stood out, and I'm going to say this in the nicest way, but hopefully y'all won't make a graphic of this, but
don't.
We're not playing smart football. We're not playing smart football. Now, the opposite of that is to say we're playing dumb football, but we kind of are. We're kind of playing some dumb football. And I think it's at every level, to be honest. We're just not playing smart. We're not doing smart things. We lack energy and execution on offense. There's no creativity in the play calling. There's no joy. There's no, there's just not a whole lot there. Woody Marks scored a touchdown the other night, and it got us within a score with just over 2 minutes left, and everybody was kind of like, yay. And it's like there's got to, that's got to stem from, the enthusiasm and energy comes from D'Amico Ryans, but it's not getting over to the offensive side. Now, is that a CJ Stroud issue? Part of it, yeah. Is that a Nick Caley offensive coordinator issue? Sure, definitely. But they're lacking so much offensively, especially up front. If we could take A&M's, the equivalent of A&M's college offensive line and put it on our offensive line, we'd be a really good football team. We'd be 5-1 and be sitting pretty. But we don't have that. We have the equivalent of Slippery Rock State's offensive line right now. And I don't even know what that team's record is, but our record's not good. And a lot of it has to do with the issues we're still having on the offensive line. We haven't solved them. And that's a major, major issue. So A&M fans, when you watch your offensive line, you think you're lucky stars. You've got that group up front because it is really, really good. Ours, really, really not. And we're 2-4 as a result. And as a result of it, A&M's undefeated. So that's it, right there. Now, there are a litany of other things that I have theories on. But it's really that we're playing dumb football right now. And offensively, we're doing nothing in large part because our offensive line is getting it handed to them a number of times. Now, is that because the CJ is not doing things he's supposed to? That's part of it. Are they not calling creative plays? And I shouldn't even say creative plays, calling effective plays at the right time. Yeah, that's a part of it too. So until that gets fixed, we won't win another football game. Hopefully it gets fixed today, starting today. Get ready for San Francisco on Sunday.
Johnny, appreciate you, brother. Talk to you next week.
Yeah, man. Love you, bro. See ya.
See ya. It's my guy. Love him too. John Harris. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Open segment. The Clevenger's got a lot of great thoughts to get into, right? Okay. We'll do that on the other side. All right, let's talk Rollo Insurance. I already told you the story about Jason Rollo in Spain and, having to find a way, MacGyver his way to watching the Aggie football game against Florida a couple weeks back. That guy is just resourceful, and he's also very trustworthy. He's a huge Aggie fan. The whole company is awesome. They've got, 60 offices in Texas, but Jason Rollo and the team have just created this empire, but it's still a good old boy, hometown feel, small town kind of vibe there at Rollo Insurance, where you get to know your personal insurance agent. My guy is Morgan. We go out to lunch all the time. We go to 1775, by the way, and he's awesome. But it doesn't matter who your guy is there. It could be so many of the different crew. Jackson, Keith, Morgan, the whole entire team there is fantastic, and they're going to get you the right insurance situation every year. And they're going to talk you through the process so you know exactly what you're paying for. They'll do the shopping for you. Call them up at 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to RolloInsurance.com. That is RolloInsurance.com. The difference is real. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Just talking to Sydney Clevenger there at the Angry Elephant Youth and Social Center about my old fraternity days as an Aggie Cowboy.
Yeah, that was news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did Songfest back in '95 with good old Matt Hugo and Brandon Davenport, Kate Browning, yeah, the whole crew. So sorry, just shout out to my guys, Jason Bean, who sang the entire time. What do you have for us there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center?
So starting off with some football, Marcel Reed was named the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award National Player of the Week after he went off against the Razorbacks with 23 of 32 completed passes for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also rushing for 55 yards and another touchdown on 6 carries. Marcel deserves much credit in the Aggies' advancement to number 3 and 7-0 slate following that shootout of a game where he made way for touchdowns on 6 of the Aggies' first 8 drives. Reed currently sits at number 21 nationally in total offense with 19 touchdowns and 287.3 yards per game.
That's great to hear. I am actually a voter for that award.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow.
So shout out to Marcel. You got somebody in your corner. We'll see. I got to be impartial. I got to vote for the guy who deserves it. Right now, that's where my heart is.
Good.
Yeah. What else?
Okay, I'm really excited to say this. Moving on to basketball.
Woo!
The Aggie men's basketball team will host an open scrimmage at 6 p.m. tonight at Reed Arena. Doors will open at 5:30 and parking and admission is free. The Aggies will show a sneak peek of what's to come during their season that is actually quickly approaching, with the exhibition game against Arizona State being just 3 days away. That will be held at the Fort Bend Epicenter in Houston this Sunday. And then Buckyball season officially starts November 3rd when the Aggies take on Northwestern State at Reed.
I'm actually really excited about it. I'm always excited I'm a basketball junkie. I love watching basketball. I did not watch the NBA last night. I'm sure Caden watched the Rockets. I did not. You didn't watch it? I don't care about the NBA like I used to. It's just not my thing. But I love watching Aggie basketball. And
me too.
Hey, look, say what you want about Buzz. The last few years were fun. They were a lot of fun to watch that team come together. Let's try to get one more thing in before we hit a break, and I think Jamie Morrison's probably already in the lobby.
Yeah, last thing, PFF updated their 2026 NFL Draft Big Board that features a couple Aggies. First one on the board at rank 20 is Cassius Howell with a season grade of 85.5, which is the 27th best score of all 852 edge defenders. Next at rank 28 is Casey Concepcion with a season grade of 80.9. That's the 46th best of all 1,066 wide receivers. Torian York is ranked at 69 with a season grade of 74.6, the 175th best of all 780 linebackers. And then just some other top players. Rank 103 is Will Lee, 117, Chase Basantis, and then Albert Regis at 120.
Good stuff. Thank you. Appreciate you, Sid.
Of course.
Right, we'll hit a break. Jamie Morrison next here on TexAgs Live. Right now, though, we're talking about Paragon Financial Advisors. When it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it starts with the right team. And at Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors, they're an independent fiduciary serving clients across Texas. You get no commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have a team of 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise runs deep there at Paragon because credentials matter, and so does your future. What you should do is go visit paragon-adv.com or call them up, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Jamie, I do these things like they're like kind of code for me and also for the person on the show with me, right?
Gotcha.
So especially if Billy's here, I do this move, right? When it's time to wrap up a segment.
Yeah, the whole.
I do that, and I'll do it like 3 or 4 times because Billy will just talk.
Yep.
And I'll pull it out. I'll just do this. That's kind of, and also when a segment's about to start, sometimes I'll do this. And I saw you look at me just like
you're ready to go.
It's just like I got to get in character.
Yeah, for those that aren't here, there's like an awkward 30 seconds pause before we come on the air where we're like having these like great conversations and then it just goes silent.
It goes silent, and then we're looking at the camera. When are we going on?
Yep.
When are we going on? Jamie Morrison in studio, number 10 Texas A&M volleyball team riding high after 3 consecutive sweeps.
Oh, hold on. Number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah, the notes are a little old.
Goodness gracious. 15-3, is that correct?
I think that's right, yeah.
Okay, making sure. And kicking butt. How about that? They're kicking butt. Let's talk about the last week. How did it go?
Doing great. And again, I come in here and talk about the way we play matters more than necessarily the scoreboard, but both of those were ticking in the right direction. So I thought especially that Oklahoma game. I remember coming into that, and you always want to, make your team kind of on edge, but comfortable they were going to beat a team. But that team scared me. And they run fast and they create some problems. And I thought we handled that really, really well. I thought our offense was clicking at a really high rate. So I was really, really fired up. And it was interesting. Like I was actually pretty happy with the Sunday match against Arkansas, but in there they hit like 260, which is pretty abnormal for us. We've been, I think, number 1 or number 2 in the SEC in terms of opposing hitting efficiency and our block and D holding people. So I went back and watched. There were some small things in there, but they played well. Was a big piece of it. So overall, just really, really happy with the weekend. I thought across the board we were really good when I looked at stats across it and looked at videos. So excited for what's next.
Can we talk about your senior group and what they mean to you? I know you got a little emotional the other day, but like this is these have become household names for us, right? And that's a big deal, I think, for us because we've got to know them, but for you to have that impact in the time you've been here.
Yeah, and I don't want to get emotional again, but I probably will. Just whenever you take over a program, there's a building that has to happen. And I think the reason why those names have become household names is because they've helped build this program into what it is. And you got a group of them that have been here since day one. When, again, I came into the gym on day 1 of practice, it wasn't necessarily comfortable. But it was, we're going to push in these ways. And that group decided they wanted to be the ones that help push. And then you have a group of people that transferred in here that didn't necessarily buy into being a part of the number 9 team in the country. They bought into the vision of what it would take to get to that point. And I talked to them about from here on out, like people that commit to this program are probably committing to, again, the number 9 program in the country. But those people decided they wanted to roll up their sleeves, go to work, and build this program into what it is today. And I don't think, I can be more honored that somebody decided to do that based on what I and what our staff sold to them of this is what it can be. So, and then the other piece that has really gotten me, emotional is just, they're amazing human beings and we recruit that way. And in my previous spots with the national teams, it was, you get these people around and they're good enough, they stay around for life until they're done and they retire and they don't want to be a part of it anymore. Or maybe their performance diminishes a little bit, but like they're around. And with this, it's this 4-year cycle of kind of, you get to know somebody, you make them a piece of your family. Like, my daughter knows their names, knows their numbers, and she asked the next year, but it's the same for us of you have these emotional connections and that's not going to go away. We've talked about bringing people into our program who we want to be a part of their lives for their lives, but they're just not part of your day to day. It's as if, you have kids that are leaving every 4 years and you're a parent and you have an empty nest kind of over and over and over again. So, and this one hits hard. There's a lot of them. And it's a big chunk of our team, and kind of we talk a lot about the different personalities make up the team. The personality of the team is going to be different next year, and it'll be its own beautiful thing, and it'll be amazing, but it'll be different. So it's a celebration of kind of what these people have done and what they've meant to this program, but also a little bit of mourning of they won't be around much longer. But also, I think the timing of it. I was just talking to actually Ava yesterday, just about I think the timing of this has been nice because it's made people appreciate the time that we do have. So I think we're going to enjoy these next, 7 regular season games and then try to extend our season as much as we can heading into the playoffs.
So your coaching identity probably comes from multiple places. I know you've mentioned the Italian coach that you learned a lot from, but what about building a culture? Like, because that's, yeah, sure, you can pick up some of that from another coach, but where did that come from? Like your vision for what you wanted this culture to be?
first, probably Hugh McCutcheon, number one. Probably my biggest mentor. He's the one who took me at 24 with the national team. And I think the biggest thing is getting people aligned over mission and vision and making sure that behaviors match up to that as much as you can across the board. And then I think some of it's my own, I would say, of I came back to this because I wanted it to be about mentorship and relationships. I wanted it to be about, I don't know, having alumni come back for 20 years and having them be a piece of my life. So I think there's that piece of belonging that comes from myself a little bit. But a lot of the cultural stuff does come from you.
So we've talked many times about how deep this conference is, right? Yeah. And how hard it is just to win a match. But the sweeps, like what does that say about the level that this team can get to? Because again, these are good programs that you're doing it against.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, it means one, we're good and we're consistent. Yeah, and I think again, I keep talking about the same thing, but it keeps getting longer and longer in terms of our ability to do it. But that third set against Oklahoma, we started to let off the gas a little bit. We were up pretty big and let them come back a little bit in that. And I took time out at one point in there about like, hey, like this is what I'm talking about. We have to finish this. And I think we maybe bled one more point and then finished it out on the next two. But I think we're starting to get that muscle flexed if we can play good volleyball for long periods. And that's really important. And that Oklahoma team went out on Sunday and almost took Texas to 5. They ended up beating them in 4, but that was a good volleyball team. So the ability to kind of hold them down, and we talk about, I don't know, not necessarily throwing knockout punches, but being like a python that's slowly strangling something. We're just going to play good volleyball until it gets annoying to play against us. And I thought we did that for those two matches quite a bit. So it's the ability to do that for long periods. And we did it for, I don't know, 9 sets in a row, pretty much. Can we continue to do it as we get into this weekend and 2 more tough matchups?
We've talked Logan many times on this show, but another great week. SEC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. Just the week itself. I mean, we know the career, we know the season, but just this week.
She's getting better, and as a program and as individuals within it, we're going to continue to improve across the entire season, across careers, and even with how good she is, she's not going to stop. And when we keep having talks about, hey, let's add this to your game, or hey, let's get back to doing this in your game, and she's doing a lot of that right now. And then I remember at one point, their middle blocker was biting on and this is a credit to our middles, like, and how much people have respect for them. Like that opened up Logan a little bit in that second match. But I remember at one point late in that third set, I'm like, they're still fronting the middle and leaving her one-on-one. And I think they called the timeout to address that right after it happened. But she's, I don't know, keeps getting better. And I think that's the thing that's most impressive right now is she already has a really good resume. She already has a lot of things to lean on, but she's consistently looking for little ways that she's going to improve. And I think that's the thing you'll continue to see her doing it throughout the season.
I'm glad you said that because sometimes we talk about like, how does a team that's good get better as the season goes on? Because I guess practice is certainly part of it, but it's just the reps, it's the time together, time on the saddles, if you will. Like how do you peak at the right time?
Yeah, great question. It gets harder. And we talked about this as the season started. I knew we were going to be good, so it gets harder the better you get. And I would just equate it as this: like if you're a complete rookie at playing volleyball and you come into a gym, like you're going to come in and you're going to leave completely different and better. And I don't know, the progression is going to go really, really fast, and then it's going to start slowing down at the top because you're looking at small little things. But these little changes are the hardest because you're making this tiny, tiny change. But when you're looking at, I don't know, and I've always said this, like getting to the top 10, it's not easy, but like that next step is so much harder. It's refining these tiny little things that like for most people might not matter. And it might be annoying that they're getting addressed and like, but those tiny little things, when they add up, are going to be the 2 points. And if you look at our Kentucky match, we lost by that fourth set by 2 points. Like it's, hey, where can we find those 2 little tiny points to go get that much better? So it's really refining the small tiny things and the attention to detail and the scouting report and all the things that might not matter that have gotten you to this point that are going to matter to get you to the next point.
Let's close out with Baton Rouge. Talk about the trip. There should be hopefully a bunch of Aggies that make it, right?
Just if you're listening and you're going to be in town, there's a football game on Saturday.
Is that right?
Yeah,
is that
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something to do, I think you can give our time maybe later on in the week, but I think it's 6:30 if I remember correctly.
Just to confirm we got the time right on the.
But if you're looking for something to do, if you just got into town, I would love to see a lot of Maroon in that crowd. I think it'd be awesome. It's going to be a feisty match. They get after it. They're going to show some emotion through the net, probably. How we handle that in our own way is probably a big part of what we're going to talk about. And then they can light up. They got two really, really physical left sides, and they're a physical volleyball team that if they're playing good volleyball, they can push a lot of people, and they did that a lot in the non-con with a lot of matches going to 5.
Yeah, the time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. I was
7
close.
p.m. So make the trip. You can listen to TexAgs on your drive up there.
Do that.
And go support and keep on winning, my man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs Live. When we come back, Around Aggieland with Kaylee Dryer. That and more. Hey, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for Around Aggieland. Kaylee Dryer, I'm going to Google while you're talking Baton Rouge weather because I didn't know that potentially another rainstorm's coming. So
it's supposed to rain. Last I checked, it was like 50%.
Okay.
Callie just bought a raincoat. She'll be there.
All right. All right, Callie. I didn't know they still made raincoats. I didn't think that was a thing. This was the 1950s. Anyway, please give me Around Aggieland.
Yeah, so obviously, as we've been talking about, Aggie football improved to 7-0 for the first time since 1994. They're 4-0 in conference play in back-to-back seasons under Coach Elko. They took down Arkansas on the road 45-42 to tally their 13th win over the Razorbacks since joining the SEC in 2012. This game was all offense as the Aggies totaled 497 yards and scored on 7 of their 9 drives. Marcel Reed completed 23 of 32 passes for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns, while adding 55 rushing yards and 1 rushing score. Ruben Owens II carried the ball 14 times for 69 yards and had a career-high 2 rushing scores. On the defensive side of the ball, Dalton Brooks led the team with 9 tackles, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hurries. DJ Hicks and Marco Jones also tallied a sack in this win. The Aggies moved up to number 3 in the AP poll after Miami lost to Louisville, which dropped them out of the top 3. They now stay on the road heading to Baton Rouge to take on LSU in a night game on Saturday, kickoff set for 6:30 p.m. And moving on to volleyball, as we just heard from Coach Morrison, they swept Oklahoma and Arkansas both in 3 sets at home this past week. Logan Lednicki was named SEC Player of the Week for the first time in her career and Offensive Player of the Week for the second time in her career, as she had 32 kills and 23 digs over the weekend. Maddie Walk also earned SEC Setter of the Week, which marks her 3rd time receiving this honor. Aggie volleyball also travels to Baton Rouge to take on LSU this weekend on Friday, so go out and support them if you're going to the game.
Awesome stuff. Appreciate you. Thank you, Kaylee. I'm just looking at stats because I like to look at stats. And LSU running the ball is 15th out of 16 teams in the SEC. They average 112 yards rushing per game. It's just giving you a little perspective. A&M is in the top 5 in that at 196.7 yards per game. I'm saying this if they're going to have to run the ball a lot in Baton Rouge. As for running rush defense, both A&M and LSU are ranked very closely to each other. A&M gives up 126.9 yards per game. LSU 122 yards per game. A&M's game is probably, I don't know what the stat was last week before that incredible running attack. But that being said, that's all right. We'll see how things go in Baton Rouge. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we're going to flip the script and do a little recruiting country with Ryan Brauninger. We'll get into that. We'll get to your text messages. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Welcome back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. American Momentum Bank, the only privately owned bank headquartered in Bryan College Station. They're committed to helping our community prosper by offering you a wide array of personal and business banking solutions specifically designed to help build financial success with confidence and momentum on your side.
I got to wonder if you work at American Momentum Bank and you were in an office or maybe a conference room, and there are other people walking around in this conference room. If you just plop down, if American Momentum would let you just plop down your soup right there in the middle of everybody.
So a couple things, Ronnie. I'm glad you bring this up.
This was on the little table here
that nobody can see, that you brought to everyone's
but everybody
attention.
can smell.
You can't. You don't. If you do not put your nose in. Did you just breathe on that thing with your cough?
I smelt it. Breathed in. Okay, a couple things.
Oh, don't breathe. That's like wearing another man's clothes. You don't do that. Yes.
Wear another man's clothes.
Yeah, just going in their closet and trying stuff on. Don't do that.
It's weird if you put on another guy's shirt.
Yeah, it's weird to put your nose in my food.
No, but you can't even tell. You wouldn't even have known if you didn't see me put my nose in there and smell that. You wouldn't have known. But if you wear another man's clothes, it still got his warmth on it. That's weird. You know.
How do you know, by the way?
Just, I would imagine.
Whose clothes do you put on?
I would just imagine.
So,
but let's talk about this soup here.
That I made from scratch.
From scratch?
Yes, I did.
All right, take me through the recipe.
I can. It's actually called Dr. Hyman's Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Dr. what?
Dr. Hyman. Okay? I read his book about detoxing and...
You read it? Dr. Hyman's got a book?
Yeah. In fact, I got the recipe right here if you want to go through it with me. I don't mind. Chicken Soup for the Soul is what it's called. That's his name, bro. Dr. Mark Hyman. He's got one of the most successful podcasts in the world. The guy, like, if you have any kind of problems with inflammation.
Oh, yeah, I bet he can. I bet he can help with inflammation.
That's his name. I'm reading it right here. Serves 4. Prep time 15 to 20 minutes. Cook time 55 minutes. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil.
Okay, does Dr. Hyman have a cookbook you can send me?
Yeah, he actually does. Dr. Hyman has changed the lives of millions.
I bet.
If you've got inflammation, digestive issues, or if you just want to look jacked, you listen to Dr. Hyman. He's probably in his 60s, could run laps around you in building.
If you keep saying his name like that, I'm not going to get through this segment. Holy cow.
Hi, man. Like what?
Okay, also, can we talk about, now that the soup's out of the way, thank you, Dr. Hyman.
Mark D. Hyman, actually.
Thank you, Mark D. Hyman.
What? It's good.
Thank you, Dr. Hyman.
I bet you there's going to be people, at least there's like 3 healthy people who listen to the show. They're going to text you, yo, I listen to Dr. Hyman all the time.
Look, if Hyman's giving...
Dr. Mark.
Okay. Dr. Mark's giving you direction.
Yeah.
You should probably just like Dr. Mike gives us direction.
Dr. Mike Israetel, when it comes to, getting strong, right? If you want hypertrophy, hard word for me to say, you go to Dr. Mike Israetel. If you're looking for nutrition and fitness, you go to Dr. Lane Norton. If you want to live a long life, I'm all about longevity. Dr. Andrew Huberman, come on.
Where are you at on our other guy, Gary Brecka?
Gary Brecka, to me, is a hack. That some of the stuff he says, I like.
Yeah, Dr. Mike's been taking him to task recently. I also have a question for anybody that was here in the 8 o'clock hour. I heard some things upstairs, and it was just relayed to me. And I'll tell you this: the Blind Brigade, well, one of them ran it right upstairs so that we could all listen to it. So, but I'm a little confused as to what y'all were referring to in terms of faking things in your home. What is that? I don't know what that means. Can somebody explain that to me?
We weren't. That was actually a caller.
That was Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty. It was a caller. Yeah.
Yeah, but Olin said that y'all, it was like y'all were hinting at something. I just, it went over my head, so I didn't know if you could provide further explanation.
Sometimes,
maybe Dr. Hyman.
Sometimes I fake that the food is good, right? I'm like, oh,
does Dr. Hyman have a book about?
No,
never mind.
No, but we should probably move on.
We got to talk about recruiting, or I'm not going to let this
Dave
go.
Edmonds asked me what I think about Dr. Sean Baker. I know all the doctors because I'm part of the community. He is a carnivore, and I think some of the stuff he says is good, but I think you need fiber in your diet, Dave. There you go. Answer that question.
Oh, man.
And
no faking the funk on this show. I know that, if that's what y'all are referring to. All right, let's go.
Can I do something? Because I got to pay some bills here, by the way. Breaking Tradition, awesome movie about Hugh McElroy. New for TexAgs premium subscribers, Breaking Tradition, the Hugh McElroy story is now available on TexAgs.com. It is a Texas Filmworks production. The documentary film explores the life of Hugh McElroy, class of 71, a Texas A&M student athlete in the 1960s who chose a different path from his family's military legacy amidst a period of cultural shifts. In 1970, this is very timely, by the way, McElroy caught the game-winning touchdown in A&M's upset victory over LSU in Baton Rouge. So make sure you check out.
What year was that?
1970.
1970.
By the way, also, Luke Evangelist got his SEC preview ahead of the basketball season, got Jason Howell looking at things as well. Olin's doing a national look around college football. Live shows today. Luchenbach with Billy and Gabe at 12 o'clock, and the B Team with Ryan Brauninger and the crew starting at 4:15. By the way, I told you this in the meeting, but I want to say it out loud. I've seen a lot of, you got some diehard listeners to that show, and I love the way it's growing, so congratulations.
We're trying to be consistent with it. We're trying to have a good time. We have had some really cool, I've had some really cool messages, a couple that have reached out and said, hey, I'm going through some stuff, and I'm dealing with it in my personal life, and you guys just sitting down and talking like I'm sitting around my buddies in the living room talking sports. I really appreciate it. It gives me kind of a little bit of a respite from what's going on in my real life. That's really cool. That's never our intention. But if you have that effect on people, you obviously you're incredibly humbled by it and grateful for it. So, we're having fun with it. Richard's been a great co-host. Billy came on yesterday, talked for a little bit. He actually just came on to tell a story that he embellished to make fun of me with. Mm-hmm. Anytime you get Billy with a microphone in front of him, you know that's a possibility. I appreciate you saying that. And we're pumping out content left, right, and center. If you are not a TexAgs subscriber and you're an A&M fan, I don't think you can be both.
You can't be both if you're a TexAgs.
If you're a TexAgs subscriber, you're an A&M fan. If you're an A&M fan, you got to be a TexAgs subscriber.
100%, I agree with that. Shall we get?
Okay, you're ESL. We can explain it.
You understand Spanish though, too.
Yo hablo un poquito Spanish.
Un poquito. Let's talk a little bit recruiting, if you don't mind, since we're 7 minutes.
In English or in Spanish?
Let's do it in English, since most of our audience speaks English. Do you want to start off with what was that? You want to compare snaps? Mine's louder.
Mine's left-handed.
Okay, to try the right. Lots of uncertainty with flip targets, Bronny, due to the coaching carousel. Shall we get into potential guys that could flip? In fact, you got already a question on the premium chat, and I don't think this is a fair question, but Ag Engineering 12 says, Bronny question, gun to your head. That's if we win this weekend, do we eventually flip Lamar Brown?
So here's what I've posted on Lamar Brown and A&M's chances there. If they go into Baton Rouge and win, I think the conversations become legitimate. But then again, you start to try to prognosticate on the coaching carousel and its influence on recruiting. And I think it's going to be difficult because right now what we have is a bunch of jobs open at the P4 level where we are seeing differing degrees of kids backing out of their commitment. So Penn State had a flood of kids leave their class. Florida hasn't yet. Now, Florida, Billy Napier's firing is newer, but it was almost instantaneous once James Franklin was out from Penn State. I think they lost 6 recruits in one day. UCLA, you haven't seen a ton. Actually, you've seen some kids commit to UCLA, even with the uncertainty there. So what's different about this arena of recruiting and the circumstances surrounding it is the NIL. And now you're kind of seeing, you're definitely seeing more pre-agreed upon numbers and deals for kids coming into those schools. So if I'm offering, if I have a commitment from David Nuño, okay, and David Nuño I've said, hey, you're going to come to my school and we're going to pay you $250,000 a year. Well, that's cool. Like, okay, that's more than I was going to get all these other places. I'm going to commit to A&M. Okay, so that money is spoken for. Now, all those other schools that were recruiting you, LSU, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, they have that money that they were going to allocate toward you, they've got to allocate toward other people.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that we don't know, like how fluid those deals can be, who's got money left over, who can drum up the money, or at least drum up the perception of money. Like maybe you don't have it, but you can make it look like you do.
Right.
to get the kid in the boat and you figure it out on the back end. There's a lot of stuff like the history of recruiting tells you this is not going to be all above board, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this practice has been for going 5 or 6 decades. And you go all the way back to Eric Dickerson. Like there was stuff going on back then. Just because we've put different rules and instrumentations around it doesn't mean that that's going away. That nature's going away. And so, yeah, you have a set number that you can spend on your roster now through RevShare. Where are the loopholes? We don't know that yet, but I bet that there are, and people are searching to find them. So these, excuse me, these deals.
That's what you breathed into my soup.
No, I didn't cough into your soup.
I feel like it's the same air, though.
I did a saltwater gargle last night, and it worked.
Somebody immediately get him some salt water.
I'll take a saltwater gargle on this show. I ain't scared. Cade's a Thunderdome Thursday
there you go.
guy.
There's your next thing. Salt water on the B team, but you got to drink the whole thing.
No, that's not great for you. I mean, now if it's mineral sea salt, good for you.
Okay, let's get back on track.
What did you say? What were we talking about?
Oh,
it's the NIL deal. So, how easy is it for these kids to just go ahead and back away from guaranteed money, or I guess perceived guaranteed money? So like for Lamar Brown, probably going to cost you quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I would bet all of the NIL offers that he had, A&M, Oregon, Miami, LSU, are all going to be in the same ballpark. Pretty similar, right? Yep. Because for a player like that, if you're way far behind, you probably ain't getting it. So A&M may be a little bit less, LSU may have been a little bit more, or he may have taken a hometown discount to go to LSU. I don't know the exact numbers, the exact offers he had on the table. But that was a pretty chunk of change that A&M needed to, okay, we still have that. Let's go fire it at these other targets. And who knows, as a result of Lamar Brown choosing LSU, how A&M allocated that money that was going to him and how much they have left. That's something that nobody knows unless you're Derek Miller and Mike Elko and the guys sitting in that building, and not just at A&M, across the SEC and across the country. So that's where I think this thing gets interesting, is how, now that we know that the dollars are involved and they're a key factor in some of these decisions, how many kids are just willing to go, okay, I'm not sure about the coaching future at the school I'm going to, but I'm sure about my financial future there. Because I don't think a new head coach is going to come in and just uproot all these promises made. I think that's a bad precedent to set. And I also think that it could put you in hot water pretty quickly with a bunch of high school coaches. If you just come in and say, hey, I'm not honoring any of the stuff the past coach did, man, that's a pretty big roll of the dice.
Are you surprised you would expect some uncertainty with the jobs that are potentially going to get open. Like Hugh Freeze, most people don't feel that he'll survive this. We'll see. Napier, you said that there hasn't been that many flips, right? Or hasn't been any yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing is where's the uncertainty happen? Does it happen in the incoming players, or does it happen on the current rosters, or both? Mm-hmm. And then if you're betting on both, where does A&M or Texas, who's probably, Sarkisian's not going anywhere, or, assuming Brent Venables finishes out the year strong, he's not going anywhere. Where does Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, who's built their roster through the transfer portal, how much of their allocated money do they hold for transfer portal? And you start looking ahead at what A&M may lose, and they're going to need to rebuild on the offensive line. Well, I'm just going to tell you, offensive linemen are expensive.
Yeah.
Defensive linemen are expensive. So you're going to have to go into the transfer portal, and you're going to go, okay, coaching carousel is about to be crazy. Likely that we're going to see some impact players on the line of scrimmage go in. Likely. You don't know that. You never know that, but it's likely.
It's a good
so do you hold that money in those scholarship spots? Do you hold that more for this upcoming transfer window?
That's a hard question to answer.
I know. So you're doing your best to prognosticate, and you're doing your best to, look, again, let's just call it what it is. You're crazy if you don't think the phones are ringing across the country from agents talking to coaches where there should be stability about their clients at places where there isn't stability. Hey, we're looking to get out. Would y'all be interested, kind of thing?
Right. I think it's also, you can look at, that's a cautionary tale for what's happening right now. You look at Baton Rouge, where they went into the portal and they haven't really figured out their offensive line. You go to Texas, they didn't really go into the portal. They're all a bunch of...
They bet on their guys and to develop them, and they didn't.
Both of those teams are having problems because of their offensive line, which makes you think A&M next year, when you're probably going to lose a few of your guys, like, what's the smoothest strategies? A combination of the two? You just better hit with the right guys? Like, what? It makes it difficult.
Well, for A&M specifically, they've been high on that next group of offensive linemen, that next wave for a while. So I think if you could go probably get a left tackle in the portal and you just spend a bunch of money there, fine. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to feel. I don't know what's going to be out there. But this is definitely something that now, as we get into late October, these are the discussions that are being had behind closed doors is, all right, there's a job in front of us that we have to tackle. But there's a long-term goal here to start building next year's roster and what it's going to look like, and you're trying to extrapolate out, first of all, who are you losing to eligibility?
Mm-hmm.
Then who may you be losing to the draft early? And then who may be unhappy and maybe bailing to go to the portal themselves? So that's why these 10-month rentals, and look, you look at like Florida State.
They went heavy into the portal.
Right, and it hasn't worked. And like on some level, but Texas Tech did. It's all about like, are you buying guys that can come in and dive into the culture and be good for the locker room, or are you buying mercenaries? Because at the beginning of the season, I thought Tech bought a bunch of mercenaries, but you watch them play, those kids get after it.
Yeah.
They're playing hard for Joey McGuire. Like,
he's a really good coach.
They bought in there, maybe Mike Norvell's not. Maybe Mike Norvell's the reason why FSU can't get buy-in. And Joey McGuire is the reason that Tech got buy-in.
Also, the schedule of the Big 12, I think, helps. When you win some of those games, it helps build the culture too.
Yeah, you beat Alabama in week 1, though, at Florida State.
Yeah, you did.
And the further you get away from that, that's a complete anomaly for both of those teams. So for Mike Elko, it goes back to some of these questions that I know that they're asking in high school recruiting. Number one, can this kid, talent-wise, play at Texas A&M at the highest levels of the SEC? Does he have the measurables we're looking for?
Right.
Can he act? Is there stuff on tape? Can he actually play the game at the level we need? Number two, okay, if question number one is a yes, question number two is, does he love football? Not the stuff that goes with playing football in the SEC, not winning the games. Does he love football? And you hear Torrey and York talk about how they win games on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Does he love that? And I know for a fact that that has been pushed to the forefront of their conversations when they're doing evals with high school kids and portal kids. Do they love football? Not the money that comes with it, not the fame that comes with it, the game of football.
Well, if you
and you can index on those kids.
If you look at what Coach Elko has, how he's hit in the portal with culture guys and playmakers, right? Cassius, KC, Mario, the list goes on and on. Marcus Radcliffe, like development players.
Tyler Onyedem,
Dayon Hayes, like they have hit on dudes, right? Scooby Williams, they've hit on guys. So, and I feel like these guys, and a lot of it goes to winning and culture, right? But they feel like they were. When I think of Armage, I feel like he's been an Aggie for more than a season and a half, right? Like
sure.
There's
Coley,
exactly the same, right? Yeah. Let's hit a break. We'll keep it going on the other side. Right now, we're talking about the Association of Former Students. So if your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, you need to check out the Association of Former Students that brings Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events that they're held throughout the year. We're talking about Aggie Ring Day, Aggie Hullabaloo, the gathering. They welcome tens of thousands of guests. And there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to get your brands in front of those people who are in attendance. And they include title, sponsorship naming, on-site presence, activation, and recognition in social media posts. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the recruiting country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. Bronny, we kind of talked a little bit about it, but let's continue on the potential portal areas of need for a few more seconds. We talked offensive line, and then with the uncertainty of the draft, right? Like it could be
tight end.
Tight end, yeah.
You're going to lose Theo, Nate, and Amari to eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike O'Reilly has another year. And then Chiatti, and I think they're pleased with Chiatti, but he was a raw prospect coming in. How game ready is he going to be after a redshirt year?
Yep.
So I think tight end is going to be a priority in the portal. Quarterback, you're fine unless you have a bunch of those guys leave that are backing up Marcel. But even I don't anticipate like a guy like Brady Hart leaving yet, and they love Brady Hart. And I'll tell you this, I thought it was interesting too. Remember late last recruiting cycle who they went and got at quarterback after Hassan Longstreet left? Local kid that was committed to Tulsa.
Oh, yeah.
Eli Morcos.
Eli Morcos, yeah.
You've seen his name pop up twice now on scout team offensive MVPs of the week. So I think there's something to be said there. Like, different skill set. Brady Hart looks like, man, he makes NFL throws right now. But I've liked that Morcos is on that scout team MVP. So I just don't think you're going to have enough attrition behind him, and you're bringing in Helam and Kasuga. I don't think you need a quarterback. Running back's interesting because Amari's out of eligibility. EJ's out of eligibility. Le'Veon's probably going to go to the NFL draft. And so that leaves you with Ruben and Jamarian Morrow, Tiger Ryden, and then those two freshmen who they love.
Mm-hmm.
But do you need a bigger guy? Do you need to find a big back that could come in and spell? And you see the importance of it with Le'Veon and EJ Smith getting tough yards. And then receiver, I think you're probably in the market for one, maybe two. If Jerome Miles comes back, then I think that's a cherry on top if he comes back 100%, but he's missed
2 years now.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years to different season-ending injuries. So to me, I hope for the best because he's a freak athlete, but it's hard to rely on that when you look at the future of the position. So you'll lose KC, and that can't be understated in terms of immediate impact. Aaron Gregory's a stud. Madden Williams, all of their guys they've got committed right now are really good players.
But they're young.
And Aaron Gregory looks like a play from day one type of guy, but they are young. So do you go look for a proven receiver? I think so.
Yeah.
And that's just the offensive side. I think they're going to need interior defensive tackle help. DJ Hicks could leave. I would encourage DJ Hicks to stay.
One more year.
And then Regis and Tyler Onyedem are going to go. So you have those three freshmen you brought in. You have Dalen Evans and DJ Hicks. I think you need another one. That's just not it's not a position where you're going to play a lot of super young guys, or you don't want to. Edge rusher, probably going to need a couple. Marco Jones looks like a stud, but you're going to lose Cassius, you're going to lose Dayon.
Yep.
You need guys.
Linebacker, you're going to need guys.
We'll see. I mean, Torian could come back.
He could. Scooby's
gone, and Damien will come back. So you're actually in a pretty good spot. Linebacker, and Noah McHale's playing more. And Noah McHale has been in on some important plays.
Yeah, he has.
He's like goal line package, and he seems like he's in the right spots a lot. Like he understands his assignment, so they trust him in those tight goal line situations.
And then secondary, you're going to lose some guys.
You'll lose Will Lee.
Tyreek Chappelle.
You'll lose Chappelle. You'll lose, Bryce, depending on what happens with his concussion, Bryce Anderson could take a red shirt.
Yeah.
You still got that. You'll get Dalton Brooks.
You could lose Des Ricks.
You could. I think it's be wise for him to come back.
Yeah.
In this NIL era. But Jordan Shaw's been good, I think, in spelling Tyreek. But don't forget, you have a lot of freshmen that are redshirting back there too. Tom Johnson, Adonis Curry, Jamar Bill Goins, Dejon Petaway. So you've got bodies. Again, this is what they're looking at going, all right, like, do we want to develop our guys? And I think that's the ideal model, is develop them in your program. Or is this a spot where we have to go get immediate playing time help? Yeah. The grass ain't always greener, man.
It isn't. And if you bring in the wrong guy,
it could undo a lot.
And I also think with so many guys potentially leaving, it could be a seismic shift to your culture if you're not extremely selective.
Yeah.
You could take a flyer when it's one or two, but when it's that many guys, it could change everything.
So you're going to be losing at least two of your team captains, maybe all three. And Zuna and Armaje are done.
Right.
Then Torian will have a decision to make. So that in and of itself, you're going, okay, if we're going to bring in older guys, they have got to be right for what we're building here. because the steps that you've made, assuming this year ends the way it looks like it's going to, the steps that you've made from year 1 to year 2, you can't go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep building on this thing.
27s with upcoming decisions.
Kamari Dorsey,
yep,
safety out of Georgia, one of the most highly rated players at his position in the country. Raylon Henry, a cornerback out of New Jersey, another really highly rated kid. And then closer to home, Caden McCarty, an edge rusher from Sioux Falls. Caden McCarty just set the school record at Sioux Falls for most sacks in a game. And I think A&M's in a great spot there. And he wants to stay close to home. His final schools are all in the state of Texas by design. Mm-hmm. He wants to stay in the state. And that one is just giving me good A&M vibes for a lot. But individually, if you ask me about each one of those, I think the one that I would probably be the lowest percentage on right now is Raylon Henry, because Ohio State's been so heavily involved and Ohio State's been in a good spot for him. But he's making a return trip plan the day before his commitment to Texas A&M for the South Carolina game. So I don't know if you want to read into that. You never fully want to do that and be definitive in recruiting because anything can happen.
You can read into it, but yeah, you can't be
But
definitive.
right now, he's visiting A&M the day before he's scheduled to make his commitment.
Right.
That would seem like it's a good sign to me, but Ohio State is making a big push there.
Cool. Anything else, Bronny?
I think that's it, man. I need a saltwater gargle.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segment for the B team. Drink it, though.
I got to find him for a bit for Thunderdome Thursday tomorrow. What is that noise? Is that moving camera?
I'm here. The little squeaky noise?
We need some WD-40 in here.
Panic and Cade.
Maybe Dr. Hyman has some.
Dr. Hyman's the best. In fact, I want you to read his book, his detox book. It's really good. It'll change your life, Bronny.
What kind of does he only write books like that? Does he write other books?
He's got a great podcast, long form interviews.
But subject matter wise, this isn't going to be something that's going to get my cookies and be bad, huh?
I mean, it's going to talk about not eating processed, ultra processed food. It's not good for you, Bronny.
I'm just making sure, I don't need to clear my cookies before anything.
No, you could probably have. He probably makes.
Of course, your search history, you and Olin's search history. Who knows?
Yeah, my search history. I'll tell you. You can look at mine. Like, how do you get the zone 2 cardio and keep your heart rate under 135? That's what I search. What did you think?
What do you think Olin searches?
Politics.
It's a good time to go to break, Cade.
If we did a heritage film on Olin's search history, it'd be fun. It'd be a lot of stuff to talk about right there. Chance McClain be like, all right, because he's a storyteller, he'd be able to tell the story like, what's the first thing you ever Googled, Olin? He'd tell you exactly what he first Googled. What's the most recent thing you've ever Googled? And he'll tell you, and then you can make a decision based on that. But Chance McClain is a great storyteller. He'll tell your family story, your family history. He'll tell your family ranch story, your family business, whatever it may be in a 2-hour documentary film. And I really highly recommend it. We did it for my dad. I know many other families that have done it. He loves telling Aggie stories because Aggies care about their history much more than everybody else. That's a fact. I don't make the rules. It's just how it happens. Check out Heritage Films by going to the website, yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for Around College Football, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. With that, we go to the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Aaron Torres of Aaron Torres Online and Fox Sports Radio. AT, what up?
Nuño, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good. Okay, remind me, who are we having beef with this week? Because I feel like people claim that I always like to fight, and I have a lot of beef, but I don't ever fight anybody because I'd win. But you're fighting another member of the media. What happened? Remind me. I'm actually forgetting.
I think Pablo Torre chirped at me last week.
That's what it was.
I don't really care about. I don't really care about that. What I actually want to know from you, I got a beef with a media member.
Okay.
ACC analyst Jimbo Fisher.
Love him.
The media tour has begun. Ross Dellinger put out a real solid puff piece earlier today, and Ross has a job to do. It's not a criticism of Ross, but Jimbo, in my opinion, is very much trying to reimagine how things ended at A&M. I don't listen. You guys have a great coach, great team, great season. There's more important things to talk about. I'm just curious. Does it even register? Do you guys care? Are you so happy with how things turned out that it doesn't matter? I'm just curious because it feels like there is about to be, over the next 2 months, a concerted effort to basically rewrite how the ending at A&M actually happened.
So that story came out and I was on the air, so I didn't read it. I don't know what was said about his time at A&M, so if you want to enlighten me on a couple of the points, I'd appreciate that. My feeling is Jimbo, I liked him a lot. He was kind to me. But you kind of, and I was slow off the train. I wanted it to work bad because I thought, I told myself, AT, like, what coach, Sark, outside of Saban, let me say, what coach, Lane Kiffin, maybe Lane, but would win games when they're constantly on their backup quarterback? So that was how I justified his time at A&M. But the one thing that is apparent, the culture that they had compared to what the culture is now was not good. And some of that was maybe he was out of touch with the NIL era and the game changing, but it just looked like a guy who forgot or lost his fastball and never got it back. And that's why things ended earlier than they should have. But I also have empathy because the poor dude, maybe some of it fault of his own, constantly had his second and third string quarterback playing for seasons. And I don't know how many SEC teams in the then SEC West would be able to handle that.
Totally fair. And to be clear, as far as the article, I know you haven't had a chance to read it yet. Nothing negative about A&M. And, I think, listen, all I know is basically, I don't even think that came up. It was more, the scene was Tallahassee, Florida, and kind of remembering the great times. And I think the juxtaposition is kind of the opposite of A&M, is that they've actually never really been the same since he left. A&M has obviously shot up like a rocket ship. So, it was more just about the totality, and I'm ready to coach, and the typical article that you see this time of year, where I've learned and I've been following other teams and this and that. And I want to be clear, he didn't, as best I remember, I read it probably about 3 hours ago when I woke up, never said anything negative about A&M. It was more just, hey, don't forget I won an Natty, and I was pretty good back in my day. And I think what I saw is the same thing that you saw, which is that seemingly a nice guy, never probably spent as much time with him around you as certainly as you had. But I also don't think you can rewrite what the record was over the final few seasons. So it'll be interesting. I don't know that I would hire him, even, certainly at the Power 5 level, but I think Group of 5, I would have to know kind of what the plan is, why things are going to be different. But yeah, it was an interesting read. Definitely recommend it when you get off air.
AT, like, we can just ask ourselves this in many other areas. How many coaches get, fall off as bad as it fell off for Jimbo, are able to come back and it become much better the next time around, right? Like, things fell off for Les Miles. Didn't look so good when he came back, right? You just look around. I mean, I know there are examples of people who figure it out. Like, I'm looking at Dabo now. I'm like, did he lose it completely? Like, has he lost it completely? It feels like he lost it completely, right? How often, especially in the college game, where it's a young man sport, even though it's becoming more of a professional league, do people get it back?
It's a great point, and there aren't many examples, right? Now, there are guys like Bobby Petrino that I would argue maybe never lost it, and there was personal stuff. Bobby Petrino, I guess the end at Louisville was pretty bad, but, the second stint at Louisville. But, no, I think it's a great point, and that's where I would have hesitation hiring him, even if I was like a group of five school, is just, one, I think the role of a college coach has changed so much. We know about these play callers that say they're going to give up play calling, but don't really. I think it was Billy Napier's downfall. We saw Sark have to answer to that earlier this week. And I don't necessarily blame Sark for all their problems, but the point I'm trying to make is I've just read that article 25 times in my life, just with a different name other than Jimbo Fisher. I've been out for a year. I've been learning. And I think to your point, very rarely does the guy come back and actually apply the lessons learned. I think the best example I can think of, and it's not even the same level, you have to go back 20 years with Pete Carroll when he got fired from a second NFL job and, really reevaluated things going into college. But I could go on and on, but I think it's a great point by you. Everybody in the year, 2, 3 years off, whatever it is, says they've changed and says they've learned. And very rarely do we actually see that applied once you get back on the sidelines.
Coach Cal, maybe, right?
Great call.
He and it didn't feel that way in the beginning of last year, right? But they made that run, and he's elite coach. So that's maybe a recent one. Let's talk about this matchup with LSU, man. What have you seen from A&M? What have you seen from LSU? What's the vibes when it comes to this game?
Yeah, first of all, really, really quick on the Coach Cal thing. The thing that separates him, I think, is he's been very self-reflective of, I was so freshman heavy, now it's a transfer portal world. That's interesting to me. Let's move on to A&M LSU. What I would say is it's much more toxic at LSU than I think people realize. And I don't know what the time frame here is, so if I'm going long, cut me off. But the bottom line with Brian Kelly is, one, first of all, you really look at the resume, there's a lot of wins. There's a lot of hollow wins, not great teams. They haven't beaten a Power 5 team with a winning record so far this season. Wins over Clemson, South Carolina, Florida. But two, he's not a very likable guy, and they don't play a very likable style. David, I looked it up. I'd have to adjust after the Vanderbilt game. But if you took out the FCS game against Southeast Louisiana, they were averaging like 18 points per game going into the Vandy game last week. They've really struggled to move the ball. They've really struggled to establish any kind of O-line play, which is crazy for a guy that was known for his O-line play at Notre Dame. And I don't know, because of the buyout, if this would be a quote-unquote final nail in the coffin. But the one thing he's been able to kind of hold on to is he really doesn't lose games at home. I think he's like 22-2 or something at Tiger Stadium. If LSU or A&M goes in there and bullies them like they did last year, I think the heat is going to turn up exponentially again. I don't know if that means there's a quote-unquote firing, but that is a fan base that is teetering on the brink. And I think a big A&M win where they physically dominated that game, I think would put that fan base over the edge.
Talking to Aaron Torres here on TexAgs Live. Why is it so hard to win Baton Rouge? I keep asking people that, and it's just nobody's got a great answer other than they always have a lot of talent. It's hard to win a night game in the SEC, and that crowd is rambunctious.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to win everywhere in the SEC, and I think some of the SEC hyperbole is a little bit overrated. But, look at what A&M walked into last week. Arkansas is 2-5, 2-4, 3-1, whatever they are. I don't know what the record is, but and all of a sudden you get 80,000 people right on top of you, and it's not an easy place to go win. And so as far as why it's tough with LSU, I mean, I think one, the environment speaks for itself, and then two, let's call a spade a spade. They have really good players all the time. And I don't mean to make this only about from the LSU perspective, and I don't want to make it seem like LSU, there's no way they're going to beat Texas A&M at home in a night game. But I think that's part of the frustration with Brian Kelly is just that the talent is always there. And I've been saying this on my show the last probably 10 or so days is, I think every fan base in this era has a pseudo unrealistic expectation of what their team should be or what's even a good season in this new world of college football. I don't think LSU is a place where 10 wins a year is unrealistic. And I think specifically losing Ole Miss and losing to Vandy, I mean, those are games that LSU, I don't care how good those other programs are operating, those are wins, those are losses that fan base is never going to accept. So why it's so tough to win, it's a great environment, and they always have really good players. And again, I think that's a lot of the frustration as to why things aren't clicking for that team right now.
Talking to AT here on TexAgs Live. AT, Texas going to Mississippi State. Is this a game? Because I think Texas is going to win just because I can't have nice things. But that being said, I feel like most of those fans don't realize what it's like to go to Mississippi State, and that team is better than the record would say.
100% probably should have won at Florida last week. And the thing I'll say about what's interesting about Texas, Arch basically hasn't played 2 good games at this point in a row, which is a bad thing, but he actually was terrible last week. So maybe it's a sign that he'll play pretty well. Feels like they've been a zigzag team all year. Every time you expect things from them, they disappoint. Every time they go in with no expectations like Oklahoma, they struggle. But I think to your point, I've never been there. You would have a better feel for just how crazy it is. I mean, I've heard everyone in college football talk about how hard it is to win there. And I do think for Texas, that's kind of an interesting spot. You survived last week, second straight home game. Next week you have Vandy at home before the bye in Georgia. That just feels like a very tough place to walk into, coming off an emotional win, second straight road game where you'll be comfortably favored. I'm with David Nuño on this one. I could see the upset. I know you can't have nice things, David, but I could see the upset. Let me put it that way. All the reasons you said, Mississippi State's probably better. And at this point, I think we just have to acknowledge, I don't think Arch is an SEC quarterback. Maybe he gets there. Maybe they give him another year. I just don't think he's the answer for that team right now.
AT, great stuff, brother. Hey, just got 15 seconds. Mizzou, Vandy, what are you thinking?
Tough. I kind of like Mizzou. It's going to be high scoring, but I kind of like Mizzou in that.
All right, brother. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Later. That is Aaron Torres from Aaron Torres Online on the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with probably 2 to 3 minutes, if we're lucky. Time for now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell and online at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. I said a time now for a moment. That was not good. Now, it's not my best segue, but you know what is? Getting in a car and getting to the next place. And Caldwell Country Chevrolet will tell you another bad segue, but the facts are the facts. And when you go there, you're going to get a great deal, get a great trade-in value, and awesome customer service. That's it. That's the live spot, because that's what you need to know about Caldwell Country Chevrolet. When you get all 3 of those things, you get the right price, you're going to love it. It's not a far drive either. We're talking 15 minutes, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is right now. Sorry about that. If you want to get yourself a little pizza time, go to Double Dave's. The phone number is 979-693-1150. Caller number 12. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Kate, you're making me feel like I'm panicking. I'm seeing you like, do you see what he was doing? He was like, about to grab the mic. He was like, Double Dave, what were you doing there?
No, nothing. I was just motioning for you to go to your right a little bit.
Motioning for me to go to my right?
Yes.
Then point to my right.
Sorry, my bad.
This is not like.
Oh, no, I was going to reach for the mic so I could tell you, but
so
it's okay. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, there.
There we go.
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kate. It's the last segment of the show. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Sid!
I'm back. So there was a comment earlier from Dave in the YouTube chat.
Wait. Is it the Dave? Dave and Edmund?
Yes.
Who all he does is complain.
This one is not a complaint.
Oh,
this is good.
okay,
He said, I
Dave.
could see Marcel getting 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives and a field goal on the third, and defense gets stops. This could be 17-0 after 3 possessions.
Nostradamus Dave calling out the score. I would appreciate that.
We'll see.
I would love that.
That would be awesome.
Here's a question for everybody, all right? Who's got a better defense, honestly? Florida or LSU? Not what the stats say, what your eyeballs say. Just thought. Now, the flip side of that is, can A&M, like, I know that LSU doesn't have the offense that Notre Dame has or that Arkansas has. Can A&M's defense come up and gang tackle like we've seen them do at Kyle Field? That's going to be an important part of what they do. And can they get, why did I yell there? Did you say that was like a little loud?
That was aggressive.
Yeah. Can we get Garrett Nussmeier? And our boy Caden did send me this. Let me see. He's in the studio, but he texted me during the show, which is weird. He says, Kelly is 20-1 at Tiger Stadium at night, but 5-10 versus ranked teams. Sounds like not many of those are at night, Caden. That's all right, though. Hopefully that changes here this weekend. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live on a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the show, you guys cried. We made it happen. Josh Pate makes his return. He didn't do his Tuesday hit. He'll do his Thursday hit and the Fan Show, guys. We'll talk to you then. Goodbye.